Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, has said that Canada will contribute $10 million to the Indian Red Cross through Red Cross Canada. In a tweet, Trudeau said that right now people of India are facing a tragic situation. To help with everything from ambulance services to buying personal protective equipment, we are contributing $10 million to Indian Red Cross through Red Cross Canada. We stand ready to donate extra medical supplies too. And joining us now is our correspondent Abhishek Jha with more details on the COVID situation, on the international help and support being provided by various countries from across the world. Abhishek, give us a brief review of all that has happened and all that we can expect in terms of all countries expressing their solidarity. Prime Minister Modi thanking all countries for their solidarity and support.
Surukma, we have seen that in the recent, like in the last 48 hours at least, there is a lot more international support in terms of resources and equipment are pouring into India. Countries from European Union members, countries like USA, UK, France, Ireland, Germany, every country is trying to reach out and help India in this hour of crisis. As our Stimulation Minister has also said, almost 10,000 number of oxygen concentrators are being flown in from various parts. France is sending almost 6 big mega oxygen generation plants that will be able to generate oxygen, which is like a very sought after commodity at this point of time, because we have seen so many patients struggling to find oxygen because the demand has risen so sharply in the recent days that the current logistics and the current production is not being able to match that demand that is currently needed by the people across the in various parts of the country where the pandemic has hit very hard. Beside that, few ventilators are also being flown in from other places. The companies like Gillette, which has the production of remdesivir, which has said like almost 450,000 vials of remdesivir will be supplied to India. Other than that, there are other companies also which are trying to send across the experimental drugs, which has been which has shown some efficacy in fight against COVID pandemic. So, from all across, we are witnessing a huge support to India in strengthening its existing healthcare infrastructure, both in terms of equipment, medicine, therapeutics, in terms of funding. Also, there are the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said that the Canadian Red Cross will be contributing almost 1 crore to the Indian Red Cross to contribute in fight against COVID pandemic. So, all across, we are seeing a huge support for India in this hour of crisis to strengthen our healthcare infrastructure.
Right, and meanwhile, well, India struggling hard to cope up with those numbers there. Earlier we had seen how India had provided support to other countries. Clearly, it's a global effort now to fight the pandemic.
Of course, Shukma, and the fight with this pandemic will not be ending unless until every geography of the world has accomplished a win over this pandemic. And we have seen that while India was very much relieved in last few months, it did try to help out other countries which were which were needing all those equipments and gears that was needed by healthcare workers to in order to treat the COVID patients, like face shield, face mask, PPE kits, paracetamol and other therapeutic drugs. Also, India also supported with ventilators and other equipment and resources to some very poor and of countries which were not able to cope up with the rising cases and their existing infrastructure. So while India was at a very in a very good shape, it did try to reach out to other countries and help them in their hour of struggling. Now it's time for India, which is currently struggling with this heavy and unprecedented numbers with COVID patients to deal with. So in dealing with that situation, the world has to reach out to India, and the goodwill that India has cultivated over the years and in the last few months, especially in fight against COVID pandemic, is actually being reciprocated by the world in order to deal with this COVID pandemic in this moment of time.
Right, and meanwhile, well, the vaccination drive progressing at a fast pace across the country. Abhishek, even as more and more people are getting vaccinated. Today begins the process of online registration, and well, there's a huge message here that India is able to manufacture vaccines at such a rapid rate and supply it to all those who are willing to take it.
So India was actually India is being considered as the pharmacy of the world, where India was able to produce so many life-saving drugs and vaccines. In fact, India's vaccine production was in a way enabling the world in fight against so many dreaded disease in the past, and all the production was being supplied across the globe. WHO was one of the key buyer of Indian produced vaccine, because WHO is conducting major vaccination attempt for a variety of diseases across the globe. So India was supplying all that vaccine. In fact, during the time of pandemic, also almost 6 crore vaccines were of COVID was supplied to various nations, and almost 100 countries were benefited by that. Currently, India is struggling to deal with this COVID pandemic, and if the world does not come to the aid of India, it will not be able to scale up and produce the same capacity that it has currently now, and to to fully utilize the existing capacity that is actually beneficial for the world at large. India needs to strengthen. India needs to overcome with this current crisis, and the world needs to help India, so that India be able and stand again in order to help the world for long term.
Right, Abhishek, thank you very much for those detailed inputs, and you keep your eyes on that story. We'll be back with you throughout the day for more. And now let's take a look at what state governments in India are doing to contain the spread of coronavirus.